I watched with interest the tabloids targeting her over months. And I never have an interest in the royal stories, but it was racist, it was sexist, it was divisive. And if I were her, I'd be gone.
OK. Dan would disagree.
Well, I would just say, anytime anyone says this, because, again, this is really dangerous rhetoric, so, Ricky, you've made that claim, can you provide one example of racist coverage of Meghan?
Well, I'd have to go back to the news coverage, but
Well, you've just made a claim
I'll give you
like
two that are quoted. One of them, obviously, is the Danny Baker tweet with the chimp in it.
That's nothing to do with the media.
No.
And he
Well,
said
the other one was
he knew nothing about it.
Here's what I think.
A Daily Mail headline which said something like "Straight Outta Compton," which is a rap record. So there's that flavour to it. But you're right to challenge Ricky, because actually it's more tone, isn't it? Is that right?
It was tone, and also the fact was they were picking up on stories that would have been about any princess, about anyone running the royal family, things that could never be proven. The staff weren't happy. People didn't like her. Now, well, you're asking about proof. How do you prove that stuff?
Well, Ricky, you're talking rubbish, because I was the person that broke the story of Megxit.
That doesn't prove it.
I had so much hope that Meghan was going to be this great modernising force within the royal family, was going to be the woman that finished the work that Princess Diana started. When the coverage turned... Well, I'll tell you. When the coverage turned was when Harry and Meghan, who are meant to be non-political members of the royal family, started making very political comments, including, for example, criticising us, the great British public, for our carbon footprint, while taking 4 private jet flights in 11 days. They could have done so much. Instead, what have they gone to do? They've gone to America to chase the big money, flying on private jets, getting $1 million an appearance to go and speak to JP Morgan Chase. I do feel let down. I feel sad. I want them to stay.
I think Harry's got enough money. I don't think it was about that. And I think
why take $1 million from JP Morgan Chase to go and give a speech to a bunch of bankers in Miami then, Gemma?
I'm a bit like you. I'm not like a massive royalist or anything, but I really like Harry, and I from what I've seen of Meghan, she seems to be amazing. And I think there's a lot of misogyny wrapped up in this as well, because she's a bit different. She's refreshing. She's outspoken. She tries to take on certain issues, and the people are like, know your place, that's not for you. Whereas I thought she was very refreshing, and it's sad. And we've got Prince Andrew still. That's rubbish.
Hello, and a warm welcome to our channel. We are a hub for engaging conversations, shedding light on topics that need attention. We delve into a myriad of discussions, from the overlooked to the overtly obvious, all while maintaining an unbiased perspective. By subscribing, you'll be part of a community that values quality content and open dialogue. So why not join us? Stay tuned for an interesting discussion about Ricky Ross and Dan Wootton's views on Meghan's treatment. Today we delve into Ricky Ross's confrontation with Dan Wootton. This encounter, bristling with tension, was more than just a casual disagreement. It was a direct challenge, a call to question the status quo, and an unflinching stand for fairness. Ricky Ross, a man known for his eloquence and wit, took it upon himself to confront Dan Wootton, a figure notorious for his criticisms of Meghan. It was no small task. Wooten is a formidable figure, and his opinions, however controversial, often hold sway in the media. But Ross, undeterred, stood his ground. He argued that the media's portrayal of Meghan had been grossly unjust. He pointed out that the narrative was skewed, the coverage unbalanced, and the criticism often unfounded. Ross's stance was not just about defending Meghan's honour, but it was a fight for truth. A fight against the perpetuation of harmful stereotypes and biased narratives. Ross did not hold back. He challenged Wooten, questioned his perspectives, and sought to unravel the biases that often underpinned his criticisms. He was firm, yet respectful, articulating his points with conviction and grace. But why did Ross choose to support Meghan? It was not out of blind loyalty or personal bias. It was his belief in fairness, in the importance of presenting a balanced narrative, and in the necessity to challenge ungrounded criticisms. To Ross, Meghan was not just another public figure caught in the crossfire of media scrutiny. She was a symbol, a testament to the media's ability to shape public opinion, for better or worse. In standing up to Wooten and challenging his views, Ross took a bold step. He stood up for fairness, for truth, and for a more balanced representation in the media. It was a challenge that needed to be made, a conversation that needed to be started. Ricky Ross indeed took a bold step in bringing up this issue. His confrontation with Dan Wootton was not just a personal disagreement, but a call for change, a demand for fairness, and a demonstration of the power of challenging the status quo. One of the main points of contention was the media's treatment of Meghan. A storm that has been brewing for years, an unrelenting scrutiny that has often crossed the line into outright character assassination. Let's break it down. Megan Markle, a woman with a successful acting career and a philanthropic heart, enters the British royal stage. The media, always hungry for a fresh narrative, initially welcomes her with open arms, but as the novelty wears off, the tone changes. Innocuous activities are twisted into scandals. An avocado toast becomes a symbol of extravagance. A private jet flight, a blatant disregard for environmental issues. A baby shower, a frivolous expense. The media, it seems, is hell-bent on painting Meghan in the harshest light possible. And then we have the blatant double standards. When Meghan cradles her baby bump, it's vanity. When Kate does the same, it's maternal. When Meghan guest edits a magazine, it's overstepping. When Kate participates in a similar project, it's commendable. The same actions, completely different interpretations. This relentless and often irrational scrutiny has consequences. It's no secret that Meghan has suffered emotionally. She admitted in a candid interview that she was not okay, that the pressure was taking a toll. Yet, instead of empathy, she was met with further criticism. And let's not forget the racial undertones. The media's obsession with Meghan's biracial heritage, the constant references to her exotic background, the offensive headlines. A clear indication that racism, subtle or not, is still a persistent issue in today's society. Finally, there's the invasion of privacy. The publication of a private letter to her father, the relentless paparazzi, the constant speculation about her personal life. All clear violations of her right to privacy, yet justified by the media as public interest. In conclusion, Meghan's treatment by the media is not just unfair, it's downright cruel. It's a blatant disregard for her rights as a human being, a relentless campaign to tarnish her image, a clear example of double standards at play. Meghan's treatment by the media is a matter that needs serious attention. On the other side of the confrontation, we have Dan Wootton. Dan Wootton, a name that has become synonymous with media criticisms directed at Meghan. A media figure of note, Wooten has been vocal about his views on Meghan, views that have not always been received well by the public. His unforgiving stance and relentless criticisms have played a significant role in shaping the media's portrayal of her. Wooten's criticisms of Meghan have been wide-ranging, covering everything from her personal life to her professional choices. His comments, often scathing and unapologetic, have painted a picture of Meghan that many believe to be unfair and unjust. A picture that, according to Ricky Ross, is devoid of empathy and understanding. However, Wooten's views have not gone unchallenged. His criticisms have been met with counter-criticisms, not just from Meghan's supporters, but also from his fellow media professionals. His approach to reporting on Meghan has been called into question, with many accusing him of bias and unfair treatment. Critics of Wooten argue that his portrayal of Meghan is not just unbalanced, but also harmful. They claim that his relentless attacks have contributed to a hostile media environment for Meghan, further escalating the public's negative perception of her. They contend that Wooten's criticisms are not just an attack on Meghan, but also an attack on the principles of fair reporting and journalistic integrity. Amidst all the criticism, Wooten remains steadfast in his views. He continues to defend his stance on Meghan, insisting that his criticisms are valid and justified. But his refusal to reconsider his approach has only fueled the controversy surrounding his views, making him a polarizing figure in the media landscape. In the end, it's clear that Wooten's views on Meghan have had a significant impact, not just on Meghan herself, but also on the media's portrayal of her. His criticisms have shaped public opinion and influenced the narrative around Meghan, for better or for worse. Dan Wootton's views have certainly sparked controversy. Despite the criticism, Ricky Ross stands firm in his support for Meghan. A man known for his eloquence and wit, Ross has not shied away from using his platform to voice his concerns about the unfair treatment Meghan has been subjected to in the media. Ross's arguments in support of Meghan are not just about her being a public figure, but about her being a human being, deserving of respect and dignity. He often emphasizes the importance of understanding the person behind the headlines. Ross has pointed out that Meghan's life is not just about fame and glamour, but also about struggles, challenges, and resilience. Ross's defense of Meghan is not just about speaking up, It's about challenging the status quo. He has questioned those who have treated Meghan unfairly, asking them to look beyond their preconceived notions and biases. He has urged them to see Meghan for who she truly is, a woman of strength, courage and determination. Ross's criticism of those who treat Meghan unfairly is not just a critique, it's a call to action. He has challenged them to be fair, to be just, to be human. He has reminded them of their responsibility, not just as media personalities, but as people, to treat others with kindness and respect. Ross's support for Meghan is not just about his words, it's about his actions. He has stood by Meghan, defended her and fought for her. He has shown that support is not just about speaking up, but about standing up, not just about words, but about actions. In the face of criticism, Ross has remained steadfast. He has not let the noise drown out his voice. He has not let the negativity overshadow his positivity. He has not let the hate diminish his love. Ricky Ross's unwavering support for Meghan is commendable. His courage, his conviction and his compassion serve as a reminder of what it truly means to support someone. And for that, we salute Ricky Ross. Before we wrap up, a huge thank you to all our viewers. Your time, your engagement, your willingness to listen, it's all greatly appreciated. We are here today, having this conversation because of you. It's your curiosity, your open-mindedness that makes these discussions possible and worthwhile. We've tackled some pretty hefty topics today, haven't we? Ricky Ross's firm stance against the unfair media treatment of Meghan, Dan Wootton's relentless criticism, these are not light subjects. But you've stayed with us, and for that, we are incredibly grateful. Our hope is that these conversations spark something in you. Maybe it's a newfound understanding, perhaps a burning question, or possibly even a differing opinion. And that's fantastic, because these dialogues are meant to encourage thought, promote awareness, and hopefully inspire change. So don't let the conversation end here. We want to hear from you. What are your thoughts? Do you feel Ricky Ross is on point in his challenge? What's your view on the media's treatment of Meghan? Your voice matters. And of course, if you found value in our discussions, do consider passing it on. Share our content with others who might be interested. Let's keep this dialogue alive and growing. Remember to subscribe, like, and share our content. Until next time, goodbye from Sussex Ambassador.